Hey, welcome to How to Get That Job, episode 3. Yeah, so we've shot 2 episodes talking to different kind of professionals, different kind of young professionals, in trying to understand how, if you aspire to get that job, what are the kind of things that you need to do to eventually get that job. And according to me, uh, if you want to learn about how to enter an industry, there's no better person to ask who has recently joined that industry rather than someone who has, been in that industry for a long time. Keeping that in mind, this is episode 3, and today this episode is going to be very, very special for me, especially because today we're going to be talking about the degree, the education that I did in my undergraduation, which is I am an electronics and communications engineer. And today's discussion is going to be really, really important. And everybody who's right now maybe in class 12, or trying to understand what are the different kind of engineering courses out there, or probably you're already doing electronics and communications engineering and trying to figure out if this was the right decision for you. Today's discussion is going to be all about discussing what is electronics and communications engineering all about, what kind of job opportunities are there for people who are doing electronics and communications engineering and then eventually want to land up a core electronics and communications job. And the last thing, is this even a relevant field in an IT dominated industry in the current landscape in India? Joining me for this conversation is one of my closest college friends, who's currently working with the biggest electronics and communications company, Cadence, as a product engineer. Sankhya Parekh. How's it going, man? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Tushar, for having me. I'm really glad that you chose me for this episode,
Yeah.
and I'm really, really excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too because it's really interesting that both of us who are in the same class, we actually did our undergraduation together. We've been best friends throughout college, and yeah. So, like, my first question to you would be, why don't you tell us a bit about your professional journey up until now? Also, while doing that, why don't you help us understand broadly what does the day to day of a product engineer at Cadence look like?
Yeah. So I'll start with my professional journey.
Hmm.
I started working in Cadence as a trainee, which was part of my industrial training course that was in my last semester of MTech.
Hmm.
So that was around 4.5 months training. So, but that can be considered as part of MTech.
Yeah.
So after completing that training, I got an offer for an internship from Cadence only, from the same team. So I accepted the offer, and after 1 year of internship, I was offered a permanent position at Cadence as a product engineer too. So I've been working as a product engineer too since I guess 2.5 months now.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's about my professional journey till now.
Hmm.
And so the basic goal, the basic roles and responsibilities for a product engineer are, so Cadence basically designs electronic design automation tools, right? For
Okay.
you must have heard companies like Qualcomm, Intel,
Hmm.
right? So these people design chips, right?
Hmm.
Processors and all. So they nowadays these chips are so small that they cannot be designed by hand.
Hmm.
So they need softwares to do so. So Cadence provides them these softwares,
Hmm.
and the goal of a product engineer is to continuously update the software, researching on the market that what is the current trend in the industry and modifying the tools accordingly. So
Okay.
that is the role of the product engineer at Cadence.
Okay. That sounds pretty interesting and really tough considering we've gone through all the subjects
Yeah.
during our undergraduation. One quick question. You said that you interned with them after 4 or 5 months of training. during your MTech, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So how was your internship experience like? Would you consider that to be like a normal internship experience? Like most people go and intern with, or were the responsibilities that you had to take after your 4 to 5 months of training as an intern different from a regular intern position?
Yeah, so because it was a bit different, because usually interns are someone at Cadence especially who are just been out of college, right? Just
Hmm.
finished their undergraduation or post graduation course.
Hmm.
So, but being someone which have already spent some time at Cadence, so
Hmm.
there
Hmm.
was a little bit more responsibility on my shoulders.
Hmm.
So yeah, but in general, it was the in general interns are a lot less responsible for the work,
Yeah.
but because I had already spent some time
Huh.
as a trainee, so yeah,
You
a
became
little
an
bit more,
integral part of the team.
yeah, a little bit more responsibility was added.
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
So that's great. Uh, my second question to you would be that you do remember, right? Like even when we were in college, there was a
yeah,
strong point of view uh, in the whole college amongst people that there aren't enough electronics and communications core jobs in the current market. Therefore, most EC students eventually, sat for IT jobs or other kind of jobs when the placement started. Firstly, do you agree with that statement? And if you do agree, then what's the reason behind lack of too many jobs in the core EC space?
okay, so I agree a bit with that statement that there are not as many jobs as there are in the IT industry.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
main reason, let me correct it, there are not many jobs in India.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
so the main reason for that is, India directly is not responsible for that much manufacturing of the core electronic products. Most
hmm.
of the
Hmm.
manufacturing happens in Germany, USA, China, Taiwan. So
Hmm.
these countries are, they have a huge electronics market
Hmm.
and a huge requirement for individuals as well as
Hmm.
compared to India. But in India also there are now, as you know, that recently a news came that Apple is shifting their production plant to
Yeah.
India.
Yeah.
So that is going to open up a lot more
Hmm. Hmm.
requirements.
So basically, the key to opening up more core EC jobs is more production of electronics goods happening within the country.
Somewhat yes, but see, most of the companies that are in India,
Hmm.
how
Hmm.
they operate is they take a contract with a
Hmm.
company. They design some chip or some PCB
Hmm.
and they provide it to that company,
Okay.
a bigger company. So basically, not a manufactured, but a software, a virtual chip they are giving out to the bigger company, and then they are finally manufacturing it.
Okay.
So the main tag behind that chip will be from the company that has given the contract, the big
Okay.
company.
Uh, okay. I'll just reiterate the question that I had. Uh, I'll probably rephrase it also. Do you think with the push for made in India and these campaigns that there are more Indian companies who are going to be focusing on end-to-end production of products in India? Do you think there are going to be more avenues opening up for EC students?
So for end-to-end products, there is a huge amount of investment that is required.
Hmm.
Like uh, any electronic based design
Hmm.
uh, to be manufactured needs to go to a foundry.
Okay.
So that setup of foundry requires a huge investment, like in billions. We are talking about in billions of dollars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it may take some time, but
Huh.
yes. But slowly in India also there are a lot of good opportunities opening up.
Hmm.
So that is a good thing.
Yeah. So slowly but surely these
Yeah,
opportunities will come up.
yeah, definitely.
Okay. Uh, sure. My next question to you would be, if let's say if I am a student, who's just completed his electronics and communications engineering studies, and I'm interested in going through a similar journey that you have embarked on.
Hmm.
What's the role at which you start in this journey, and what's the growth path like?
So basically, as you know, I started as an intern, and then
Hmm.
eventually I became a product engineer too.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the difference between an intern and then product engineer too is, for a product engineer to a permanent employee,
Hmm.
the more the product which we are responsible for, I have to be a key part of it.
Okay.
Like I'm owning some part of that product
Hmm.
and presenting that to the customers and everything that goes around with that product. So I am responsible for it.
Hmm.
And as we move on in this industry, in this career,
Hmm.
so there are, after product engineer to it comes lead engineer, which is it's a person who is solely responsible for the product completely. He owns something,
Hmm.
and whatever the issues or whatever needs to be modified, that person is to be contacted. And
Okay.
also, uh, when someone becomes a lead engineer, it is expected out of him that he or she trains the new individuals that are in the company. That,
Okay.
yeah.
Hmm. So that's a managerial position, you would say, that you manage all the product engineers under you?
Not exactly managers. So typically, managers in Cadence, they require at least 15 to 20 years of experience
Okay.
before becoming officially a manager.
Hmm.
But I would kind of say a mentor.
Okay. Sure. Hmm. So that's the next growth. That's the
Yeah,
immediate next growth path. Cool.
yeah,
So that's basically saying that someone as a lead engineer will own the whole product
yeah,
as a case, and a product engineer will own a piece of the product.
yeah.
Cool. Uh, that's interesting. Uh, okay. What would be your recommendation to all the new students? I heard that JEE exams are happening again. Did you hear that news that JEE
Yeah,
exams have again
yeah,
started happening? So,
yeah.
what would your one recommendation be for all the new students who are giving their JEE exams right now, going to be giving their advanced exams soon? What would your one recommendation be to all the students who are considering taking up EC as a subject? Like, what would your one recommendation be?
So the advantages of taking an electronics course
Hmm.
is that the jobs in EC are high paying.
Hmm.
Usually, we see the average pay in IT industry is about 5 to 6 lakhs.
Yeah.
So in electronics industry, it goes up to, average pay goes up to 8 to 10 lakhs per annum for
Okay.
a in position.
Hmm.
So, but the catch is, for most of the colleges that are in India, we are talking about tier two and tier three colleges.
Hmm.
So in those colleges, the curriculum is designed as mostly on theoretical knowledge and not
Hmm.
practical knowledge.
Yeah.
So, and the main reason for that is, for electronics and communication, there is a lot of advanced lab setup required.
Hmm.
So most of the colleges don't have that, and that's why the practical knowledge aspect falls short.
Hmm.
And students think that okay, we are not fit for an electronics job, so we should switch to any other.
Yeah.
But whereas for tier one colleges, strictly talking about the top IITs like BITS Pilani and the top NITs,
Hmm.
they do have an excellent lab setup.
Hmm.
So the students there definitely have an edge over the students who are in tier two,
Okay.
tier three colleges. Yeah,
Okay. So that's all the good things that you're talking about, EC.
yeah.
Tell me a couple of things that a student who's probably thinking about choosing EC, that like, not a negative thing, but they should be aware about when they're picking that discourse. That one suggestion that probably I can give is that some of the core EC subjects are damn tough to crack. Like I still remember VLSI and subjects about antennas. What was that? Mobile communication
Yeah,
and
RF microelectronics.
RF microelectronics. Yeah, some of those exams were are not the easiest exams because there's a lot of how can I say that there's a lot of logical uh, thinking mixed with a lot of rote learning involved. Like you need to first learn a bunch of stuff and then apply some logic. Uh, that is what I used to think. What is your viewpoint on that?
Yeah, so definitely I agree with you because some EC subjects are definitely tougher,
Hmm.
like subjects like RF and antenna
Hmm.
and analog design,
Hmm.
electromagnetics.
Hmm.
So these are subjects which, they have a lot of mathematical aspect as well.
Hmm.
And some people don't like mathematics. So I
Hmm.
would suggest that if you are interested in electronics, you
Hmm.
want to make a career out of it,
Hmm.
and you
Hmm.
don't like mathematics, so I would suggest to choose digital related fields like RTL designing, system verification, timing and synthesis.
Hmm.
So these are also so basically, let me talk a bit more about these fields
Hmm.
separately. So the digital fields that I'm talking about,
Hmm.
this logic designing, RTL synthesis, verification, and timing and analysis. So a lot of opportunities are there in these fields, in digital fields.
Okay.
In RF and analog domain, electromagnetics domain, there are not a lot of opportunities in India. But the advantage is if you are choosing this field, they are going to be a lot more, you know, they will pay you more, a
Hmm.
lot more than these digital fields
Okay.
because RF engineers are rare, very rare.
Yeah.
So companies are willing to go by your terms. So
Okay.
yeah,
Uh, sure. So basically, there are what I can take out of that statement is that there are multiple kinds of EC core EC roles also. Some
definitely.
which require different, more mathematical expertise. Some which don't require that much, but all require a certain kind of discipline. I just think that uh, I this is my opinion about all kinds of engineering. Actually, I respect all engineers. I don't care if you've done your engineering from a tier one college or from tier three college. I think that you need some sort of discipline to get through 4 years of engineering and get a good enough GPA. So I think I respect all kinds of engineers, especially electronics and communications engineers, because you require some sort of discipline to get through 4 years of constant practicals, constant exams, and probably that we should shoot another episode to just discuss about our engineering experiences.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Sankhya, for my last question,
Okay.
uh, I'm just going to need your recommendations on probably books, courses, or YouTube videos that you can recommend to a student who's currently in college or currently in 12th grade, uh, that they can go through to probably firstly get to know more about the subject, generate more interest about the subject, and secondly generate more interest in this in these kind of jobs. So what would your recommendations be?
So basically, in every as we know, because
Hmm.
we were in the same class,
Hmm.
so the first class of every new subject, the professor starts with what are the books required,
Hmm.
right? So definitely the professors with suggesting the books, all of these books are good. I've read at least one book for each subject, so I know a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but apart from books, if you want to go for video lectures, then I think NPTEL is the best option
Okay.
because they have a large variety of courses from
Hmm.
basic to all the way to the advanced level, and some courses are purely based on industrial, you know,
Hmm.
industrial expertise required.
Hmm.
So go for NPTEL. Those courses are a little bit longer, but I can definitely say they are going to provide knowledge which
Hmm.
most of the books cannot.
NPTEL lectures are taught by IIT professors, right?
Yeah, so yeah, IIT
Yeah.
professors. So and those guys are have crazy knowledge. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
a
I
lot of
can I
stuff
can
I
vouch for them. Yeah, yeah. I can definitely vouch for them.
so some of the things that I learned from these NPTEL lectures.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, Let me specifically talk about antennas.
Hmm.
So I did a course on antenna from NPTEL.
Hmm.
It was taught by an IIT Bombay professor.
Okay.
So, and I've also read a couple of books, like two full books for antennas only. So I can definitely say some of the things that I learned from these video lectures were not there in the book, and they definitely helped me in my work.
Hmm.
So if you are not into reading books too much,
Hmm.
I will
Hmm.
definitely suggest NPTEL courses.
Okay. So these
It,
would help you upskill for a
yeah,
real life job opportunity also,
yeah, definitely, definitely.
not just for passing examinations.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, the main idea behind these courses is to make you well adapt in that course which you are taking, and not just for passing examination, because those are really, the
Lengthy
concept
courses.
lengthy courses, and they teach the subject from the very basic and very deep, step by step.
Okay. Okay. Sure. I think that's about it, Sanket. That those are all the questions that I had. Few things that I want to add to everything that Sankhya has said. That uh, I think that electronics and communications is a uh, great course that I think many students should continue to pick up. And uh, if you guys have any further doubts about the course, feel free to reach out to me or reach out to Sankhya, because we are two people who continue to, even though I am currently not working in a core EC role, but I still think that that course taught me a lot and made me the man that I am today. So yeah, on that note, thank you so much, Sankhya.
Yeah, thank
Uh,
you so much, Tushar, for having me.
yeah.